We can't prove the parents did it, but we know someone did it.
They said at first she had 7 healing fractures in her ribs. After that, 7 turned into 10. Then 10 turned into 15. 15, I believe, turned into 20.
They were like pretty adamant about wanting the TPR and the non-reunification. Like we never got a case split or anything of that nature.
Stop. You're breaking families. You're ripping families apart.
We were interviewed by the St. Mary's Police Department, said that their investigation was closed, so we were clear. I'm in the Navy, so NCIS did their investigation. That was cleared and closed. And now DFCS is still here with their open investigation, trying to terminate our parental rights.
My name is Damani Clarke, 30 years old, and I'm accompanied by my wife.
And my name is Shelby Whiting. I'm 26 years old, and we have a daughter named Clarke. So I've been in the Navy for 7 years. I've been on the USS Theodore Roosevelt. I was stationed out in San Diego. Went to Flemington, Washington, where I was there in the shipyards where I met my husband. And then I got stationed here in Kings Bay, and I've been here since July 2022. As we started getting closer to like me getting into the second trimester where I felt like I should start feeling baby move, I wasn't feeling her move, so I would continue to tell the OBGYN that I didn't feel her move, and she would tell me like, oh, you just give her some time, every baby's different, you just have to wait for her to grow. When the genetic testing results came back, it came back that I was a carrier for alpha thalassemia. They wanted my husband to come in and get tested. It came back that he was also a carrier for alpha thalassemia. So they did the ultrasound to see baby. The nurse was kind of like in a little panic. And then she called her doctor in and they were like, oh yeah, the baby looks like she's interuterine growth restricted. You cannot go past 3 weeks and they need to schedule an induction. She was born at 38 weeks and 1 day. Got up for like my normal morning routine after my husband had left for work. So I put her down for tummy time, and I noticed when she wouldn't put pressure on her right arm and she would kind of like scream as if she was in pain. So I immediately pick her up. I'm looking at her. I'm like, what's wrong? I immediately called and asked if she could be seen that day. She traced her arm. She told me that everything seemed all right to her, that, like she didn't have any concerns. I raised the flag again about I feel like she needs to be seen getting the x-ray. And she agreed to give her an x-ray. And then that's when she came back and told me that Anaria had a fracture to the right arm. So I immediately was like, is this normal? Is this like a common area where babies get fractures? She's like, no.
In Georgia and across the nation, we have mandated reporters. So whether it's a doctor, a teacher, licensed clinical social worker, they are by law mandated to report that they suspect a mom or dad or a guardian of abusing a child. When you have an allegation of abuse, it gets sent over to an investigative division for follow-up. In a lot of these cases, what we have seen is that when a mom or dad is at a hospital with their child, it triggers what's called a rapid response team for DFCS. So you have certain personnel that are basically on call 24 hours a day, and one of them would be an investigator or a caseworker that would go out and take the initial information.
Then that night at midnight, hey, CPS wants to talk to us. We spoke with them for a little bit. They were like, yeah, the investigation shouldn't go anywhere. We don't believe you abused her and all this other stuff. The next morning, they tell us that they want to do a full body skeletal x-ray.
At first, they started out with fractures in both her legs, both her arms, her shoulder, her wrist. They said at first she had 7 healing fractures in her ribs. After that, 7 turned into 10. Then 10 turned into 15. 15, I believe, turned into 20.
With all the cases that we're supporting here in Georgia, what that we found is that the rapid response team made the recommendation based off the medical opinion of a child abuse pediatrician that they needed to seize these children immediately.
We get a call from the case manager, and the case manager is like, hey, can you come back to DFCS? I need to speak with you for a minute. And then that's when he tells us that they're taking custody of Honoria. From there, I just like blacked out, was crying.
Once a child is in the possession of, or has been seized and is in state custody, reunification is the number one goal. Then they go through the process through juvenile court, where family law is practiced here in Georgia. They work with special assistant attorney generals that work with DFCS in order to formulate a case plan or a safety plan to reunify children with their parents. In theory, that is the way it should happen. What we have seen is that DFCS deviates from policy and procedure when it comes to situations like this.
They were like pretty adamant about wanting the TPR and the non-reunification. Like we never got a case split or anything of that nature.
We did parenting classes, we did drug tests, we did psychological assessments, we did everything that they asked us.
Oh, we're not saying they're bad parents, we're just saying like somebody had to do it. And I'm like, which one is it?
I worked in criminal investigations, investigated crimes against children for quite some time. You must allow fact and not theory to drive every single step that you take. What I have seen when an investigator with DFCS gets involved in a case, they're not properly trained, they're not properly educated, they don't have the resources that they need to thoroughly investigate these cases. They don't know how to investigate these cases.
We were doing our own investigation since no one wanted to investigate or no one wanted to look at anything. Every doctor's appointment went to the hospital and got all the reports and everything.
Anytime someone says, Ryan, we need your help, we need you or other powers help, I want to know that they are factually, actually innocent of the crimes for which they are charged. If there is any doubt, we will not accept that case, period. We've done our due diligence, why isn't the state doing theirs? Not that difficult.
We had primary assessments from experts that says some of these so-called fractures are not fractures, these are just normal growth from a newborn. And you're telling me the pediatrician or whoever saw her, no one at that time noticed anything. No one noticed anything. But it was only when we decided to bring her to these hospitals or wherever, all of a sudden, they just noticed that she has all these broken bones and this and that is wrong with her and all this other stuff.
While we were in court, they said that the foster parent heard the baby leg pop while she was changing a diaper. It was labeled that they saw pierced reaction. They didn't label any fractures or anything. Since she has been in their custody, she does frequently still pop and her joints make popping noises, and that's been documented.
Camden County has the lowest, if not one of the lowest, reunification rates in the state of Georgia. It hovers around 10 to 11%. So when the state seizes one of your children, the family court judge here in Camden County sides with DFCS 90% of the time. The national average for a reunification rate is around 55 to 57%. The reunification rate in Georgia hovers around 33 to 35%. And we need to be asking these government officials why in Camden County the reunification rate is so low.
Despite their statutory mission, DFCS frustrates placement of children with family members, obstructs visitation and reunification, lies to children about what is happening with their parents, manipulates children against their parents, and when necessary, they outright lie to the parents and courts about what the children actually want.
Their explanation to me with my aunt being in Jacksonville was it would be more paperwork for them. Mind you, that is their job.
Our original investigation case manager was arrested.
An employee of the Camden County Division of Family and Children's Services, DFCS, was arrested for aggravated sodomy. tonight, Donnell Hill is out on bond, his arrest coming last month. According to a St. Mary's police report, Hill was meeting with a mother who told police he propositioned her for oral sex right after she says he reassured her she didn't have to worry about losing her kids.
Yeah, used to always talk about how tasty our daughter's fingers was, like, just weird stuff, like.
Just to hear another man coming in telling me that he likes put his fingers in her mouth, he likes touching her, he knows what she likes to eat and stuff like that, what she likes to do, and it was just gut-wrenching and whatnot. She always remembered us through every stage of her growing up, through her start taking her first steps. We missed so many firsts. My wife missed her first Mother's Day, first Father's Day, Christmas. Everything was taken away from us. Everything. We missed everything. Everything.
We now drive 5 hours there to see her, to spend 4 to 5 hours with her, and then we drive 5 hours back home that same day and then go to work the next day. And we do that every week.
The first visit that we had, she had mucus in her nose, in her eyes. Her hair wasn't done. The smell of secondhand smoke, cigarettes, is really strong. Why does she smell like this? Why does she look like this?
Our daughter literally had a cold from April 2023 until June 2024.
She had rashes. Just the swab of the wipe was so sensitive, she started crying.
She used to have bags on her eyes, like she used to just sit there and cry all night.
You guys decided to take her child from us. And this is the best that you can do. This is the best that I guess the Department of Georgia has to offer. This is the best you guys can do.
We're never going to stop fighting for her. I'm never going to stop advocating for her. I advocated for her while I was pregnant. I'm going to advocate for her until I don't have no one left in my body.